faces serious lung issues. And Black Representative Ayanna Pressley says she's passing on a Senate run for Ed Markey's seat and will seek re-election in Massachusetts' 7th District. Pressley cited family priorities and unfinished work in the House. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams have the best record in the NFC after pounding the Arizona Cardinals Sunday 45-17. The win puts the Rams at 10-3, a game ahead of the Chicago Bears, who lost to Green Bay Sunday. 3 more touchdown passes for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. The Rams had 530 yards in total offense. The 8-4 Chargers are at home tonight against the Philadelphia Eagles at SoFi. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is going to start tonight, 1 week after having surgery to repair a fractured bone in his left hand. Tavis Smiley's Indiana Hoosiers are the #1 seed in the college football playoffs. Undefeated Indiana beat Ohio State Saturday for the Big Ten Conference Championship. Indiana will have a first-round bye. They will play the winner of the December 19th Oklahoma-Alabama game on New Year's Day at the Rose Bowl. Each school in the 12-team playoff bracket will receive $4 million. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
Live from historic Lemon Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.com. That's thetavismiley.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, 2 conversations, it's Monday. So up first, Dr. Cornel West kicks off hour 2 with his sapient political and cultural insights. Cornel West, at the top of the second hour. On the B side of hour 2, we'll travel to the Windy City for an in-depth conversation with the mayor of the city of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. In our third hour, 2 more conversations. Up first, we'll be joined by Robert Primus, the recently fired member of the Senate-appointed Surface Transportation Board, the STP, STB that is. STB is the board that approves railroad mergers. Donald Trump is firing folk in every branch of government, I do declare. But some, like Lisa Cook at the Fed and Robert Primus at STB, are fighting back. And so we'll talk to Mr. Primus about his federal racial discrimination lawsuit against the Trump administration on the top side of hour 3. On the B side of hour 3, a conversation with autism interventionist and co-host of the Deeper Than Disorder podcast, Dr. Ashley Wiley Johnson. Will dive into her current work in the autism space and unpack what we are yet learning about how to help people thrive with differences and clinical disorders. But in this first hour, let's talk politics and a whole lot more with Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, novelist, and director of the Center for Urban Journalism at Morgan State University, Leonard Pitts Jr. Leonard, how are you, sir?
I'm blessed. How are you, sir?
Man, if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. You know me, so I'm pushing forward. I told somebody yesterday, I'm out here fighting these lions with a switch. That's what I'm doing, fighting these lions with a switch. But I'm still standing. There is so much to talk about in this hour. I'm glad we have the hour. It is amazing to me, and maybe amazing is the wrong word, Leonard, but I leave here after my live show on Thursday. Friday is a best of show. By the time I get back in here on Monday, Lord Jesus, the world is turned upside down all over again. And so all this stuff sort of came out over the weekend. Pete Hegseth being put on the hot seat about whether to release these tapes of them blowing up that boat and going back to kill those last 2 survivors who apparently were waving in surrender or waving for help. They killed him anyway. And I still don't know who actually gave the order. We think we know based on the Washington Post reporting that Pete Hegseth did it, but they're kicking this football around like crazy inside the Defense Department, or as they call it, the Department of War. We'll talk in a moment about Pete Hegseth and whether or not he should, the Department of Defense, Donald Trump, should release these tapes. The Democrats in the House and the Senate are calling for the release of the video so that we can judge for ourselves what actually happened. We'll see if Donald Trump and Hegseth agree to release that video, but that's what's being demanded today by Democrats. Release the video. Congress set today, speaking of defense, to pass a $900 billion defense bill. I'm going to cut Leonard Pitts Jr. loose on that a little bit later, of how that number got to $900 billion for one department. Nobody comes close to that kind of money. And you look at Pete Hegseth, the most unqualified person ever to run that department, and they're about to approve $900 billion for him to spend. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that as well. The Supreme Court is going to decide whether Donald Trump can limit the constitutional right to birthright citizenship. We've been talking about this for the last year or so, and I predicted a while ago that SCOTUS would, in fact, take this case. And so they've set up a blockbuster decision now on whether or not they will give Donald Trump the authority to reimagine what it means to be born in this country and whether or not that automatically guarantees you citizenship. But I think I want to start with this just because I do, because I regard Dr. King, as you know, as the greatest American this country has ever produced. You probably all saw and heard the story about the holiday schedule this coming season, this coming year for the National Park Service. If you didn't see it, here's the headline: National Parks free fee calendar. So there's certain days you get into national parks for free. They have dropped Dr. King's holiday from the free day list. They have dropped Juneteenth from the free day list and added Donald Trump's birthday. So you can't get in for free on Dr. King's birthday. You can't get in for free to the national parks on Juneteenth, but you can next year get into the parks for free on Donald Trump's birthday. On some level, it's a bunch of silliness, but it's so much more than that. Leonard Pitts Jr., what say you for starters about that?
Well, first of all, I guess you can't ignore the pettiness.
Yeah.
Just as you say, there's a level of silliness, but also I think just sort of this childish pettiness, this need to be celebrated. Most of us, if we receive honors or awards or whatever in life, we don't ask for them, and we're happy to get them and maybe surprised to get them. And, oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And let me thank all of these people who got me to this point in life. I have never seen anyone so shamelessly beg for, grab, and take and demand to be celebrated. If I'll put it to you like this: if as you know, I'm a novelist. If 15 years ago I had written a character like Donald Trump, you would have sent it back and told me, please, no, let's be realistic, Leonard.
Exactly.
This is a cartoon character you've written. You need to write, a 3-dimensional character.
Yeah.
I have never, in my writer's imagination, I have never imagined that someone so cartoonish could exist. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I look at, the fact that these two holidays were singled out. I wonder what they have in common. And then I consider, as I often do, and I ruminate on the fact that I think it was 22% of African American men voted for this guy.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, brothers, I can't even talk to them. I was going to set up a dialogue, but I can't bring myself to even talk to them.
Yeah.
It's just astonishing to me that your sexism or your need to identify with this man baby overrode your sense of self-respect, your racial self-respect, your sense of decency. All of this, those are the two things that come to mind when I look at this calculated insult.
Yep. Now you've said a few things already, just in one response, and I want to probe that. It's always great to have Leonard Pitts Jr. for the hour on this program. There's again so much to unpack. It is petty, it is silly, and to his point, we've never seen anybody just crave attention in the way that Donald Trump does. But MLK Day is off the list of free days at the park. Juneteenth is off the list. You heard Leonard say a moment ago, what about those 2 days have in common? Here's my point, that the overt racism of Donald Trump is just so abundantly clear now. It's just so out there. I was reading a piece yesterday, over the weekend, I think, in The Atlantic that I want to jump into with Leonard when we come forward here. And this piece in The Atlantic, it was really delving into why Donald Trump is not being held accountable for his overt racism. It's getting worse by the day. It's so abundantly clear. But he's not being held to account for his overt racism by anybody. No naivete here, but let's jump into why we think that is with Leonard Pitts Jr. when we come forward on Tavis Smile.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right. You save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
more honesty than you can handle, more empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, novelist, and director of the Center for Urban Journalism at Morgan State University. Leonard Pitts Jr., always thrilled to be in conversation with him. And so in case you just tuned in, we were talking about the fact that over the weekend it was announced that there will be no more free entrance into national parks on the MLK holiday come 2026 or the Juneteenth holiday come 2026. So those 2 days have been dropped. We say for the third time, wonder what those 2 days have in common. What has been added as a free holiday on the parks is Donald Trump's birthday, June the 14th. So we've added Trump's holiday as a free day to get into the parks, but the King holiday and Juneteenth are gone. I was saying to Leonard a moment ago that it is so, it's so patently obvious every day, every other day, every week, the racism that animates everything that Donald Trump does. And Leonard made the point that he's still trying to figure out how so many of those black men who supported Donald Trump could, in fact, have supported him. That's one question, and Leonard has asked the right question. But I want to add another question to that, which I've, raised 1,000 times on this program, Leonard, since last November, a year ago when Donald Trump first got elected. What does he have to do for somebody to denounce him? Byron Donald, any other, African-American Republicans, my black conservative friends, all these Negroes who, in fact, voted for him. What does he have to do for somebody to come out publicly and denounce him? Again, I'm not stuck on stupid. I'm not naive here. But the list continues to grow every single day of the, I repeat, overt racism that Donald Trump is engaged in. How do you explain that the King holiday and Juneteenth, you can't get in free to the parks? I mean, again, it's petty and it's silly, but sometimes racism is petty and silly. So I was saying to Leonard a moment ago, I was reading a piece over the weekend. I encourage you to read it. I always share with the audience, Leonard, as often as I can, the stuff I'm reading for what it matters, for what it's worth. And people can just sort of tap into the stuff I'm referencing in these conversations. There's a piece, pretty interesting, in The Atlantic right now, you can find it, called Why Doesn't Donald Trump Pay a Political Price for His Racism? Why doesn't Donald Trump pay a political price for his racism? Leonard Pitts Jr., your thoughts?
Well, as I've said in previous encounters, racism is America's amniotic fluid. So, that's one thing you have to always, that's one thing you always have to keep in mind. Here's the thing about racism. I'm remembering conversations, say, 20 years ago before the world went, totally crazy. Mm-hmm. When I would decry racism in somebody's actions, my good white friends, not the Klan member, not the crazy folk, not the extreme folk, but just generally good, mostly liberal white folks, mm-hmm. would always have trouble identifying it, or would always want to come up with, well, are you sure it's that? Because it could be this other thing. There's always this, and I'm the first to admit sometimes we as black folk could rush to judgment. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we could find a racial conspiracy in a phone booth. Okay, mm-hmm. So I'll give the benefit of the doubt sometime. Yeah. But by the same token, if we have a proneness to rush to judgment, my good white friends have had and have a tendency to rush from judgment. For them, racism is like a UFO myth or Bigfoot. Are you sure you really saw that? Yeah. Couldn't it have been something every time? And it's almost perversely funny to watch it now as it becomes more and more obvious, more and more overt, and those people become more and more silent. Yeah. Yeah. Hello? Yeah. This is the same thing that I was talking to you about 20 years ago. Where are you? Why are you not saying something about this? And as for the African American folk who aren't calling it out, well, that's probably sadly simply the fact that there's this thing, I don't know if I've talked to you about this. There's this theory I have about black folk wanting to be honorary white, or white adjacent. Mm-hmm. If you'll remember back in the apartheid era, if you were a black performer going over to perform in Johannesburg or wherever, you had to be designated honorary white. Yeah. And I think that there's a political equivalent. There's always been a political equivalent here in America for black conservatives. And the one thing you can't be if you're black and trying to be honorary white, you cannot call attention to or acknowledge the existence of racism as a present day reality. You can talk about it in history all you want, but you cannot say, hey, we still struggle with this stuff right now, this moment in 2025, because they'll call you out on that. Yeah. One of the unintentionally funniest things I ever saw was Colin Powell at the Republican National Convention. I believe it was in 2000. Mm-hmm. He's giving this rousing speech, full of conservative, values and people. Yes, and yeah, oh yeah, and right, yeah, go Colin, go. I mean, they're with him. They've got their Negro. Yeah. And then he mentions that racism still exists. I think it was in the context of affirmative action. Mm-hmm. And I swear you could have heard, as my father used to say, let me clean this up because my father said it another way. Yeah. You could have heard a rat urinating on cotton. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's how quiet that room became when Colin Powell reminded them, "Oh yeah, but I am still black."
Mm-hmm. No, and I'm thinking, speaking of Republican conventions, Leonard, I'm thinking of all those black people who spoke on the first night. I called it Black Night. You recall the first night of the Republican convention in Milwaukee last year when Donald Trump was given the nomination. All those black men, all those black folk. What's the other lady they ruled out? The woman who used to date Kanye. I can see her bald head.
Yeah, I know you're talking
Amber
about.
Rose. Amber Rose. So
yeah.
they wrote out all these black men who were supporting Donald Trump on night one. They wrote out Amber Rose. And none of these Negroes ain't had a word to say about Donald Trump. And again, you ask yourself, what is it going to take for y'all to acknowledge this? Maybe they're just that blind or that lost. But every other week he does something that is absolutely not just an affront to black people, not just an insult to black people, but just downright racist. And there's no other way to explain it. So again, it seems silly and petty that you can't get into the national parks for free on the King holiday. It seems silly and petty you can't get in free on Juneteenth. But we know what this is when we see it, and none of these black people, and to Leonard's point, not enough of the good white people, as I call them, the good white folk, are willing to call this out. And I'm thinking, again, I keep saying this because I don't want people to think I'm naive at all or stupid, but I'm thinking in our culture, you mentioned 20 years ago, the minute you said that, my mind went back over the last 2 decades, and I could go back longer than that, just in my time in media, thinking of all the persons who have been canceled in our culture. Let me be very clear, I'm not down with cancel culture. I'm just making a point here. I think people can make mistakes and be forgiven and move on with their lives and still do great work in the world. But I think of all the persons, and I'm just thinking the range. You remember Jimmy the Greek? I think you wrote about this. Jimmy the Greek,
yeah,
and all the trouble he got into for suggesting that we were different because of the way our bodies are made when it comes to athletics. It had an unfair advantage. I'm thinking of Michael Richards, the comedian that was on the Seinfeld show, and how he got canceled for the things. I mean, I could just do this all day long, just over the last few decades, of all kinds of people in our culture who have been canceled for the racist things they said. We can come a lot more current, and y'all could run the list as fast as I could, of people in the last year or two who have been canceled for daring to make comments that were deemed as racist. Comedians who've gotten themselves in trouble. They're comedians, for goodness sake, and they've gotten in trouble. Some of them being canceled for things they've said on the stage. But here you have a guy who's the leader of the free world, the president of the United States, who, again, Leonard, is just getting away with this day in and day out. And it boggles the mind that folk have been canceled for less, but Donald Trump digs in more and more every day. You saw it last night at the Kennedy Center. He refers to horrible people in the audience. He's saying Somalis are garbage the other day. I mean, this is getting worse and worse every day, Leonard. And here's my point. I don't know what the consequence is if he continues this unabated and nobody calls him out for it.
2 things. One, you have to acknowledge that honorary whiteness is a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
It's more addictive than cocaine. And secondly, if you're not honorary white, if you're in fact white, and you look at this guy and you have to call him out, you have to realize in calling him out, you'd have to call yourself out because you're the person that supported him. You're the person that voted for him. I look at people that I once admired, actors that I once admired, Stallone and Kelsey Grammer, and these people whose work I've enjoyed for 30 and 40 years, standing alongside him. And and this is not a political disagreement.
Yep.
This is not, oh, you're for higher taxes, I'm for lower taxes. You want a more muscular foreign policy. I think we need to try, diplomacy. It's not that. So don't. This is not Bush versus Gore. Yeah. We could have had that argument and still have been friends. Mm-hmm. This is fascism versus democracy. This is racism versus inclusion. There's no way around that. And it's the silence of people I once admired on that particular subject, that particular aspect of it, is deeply frustrating, disappointing, and galling. But again, if you do that, the hardest thing for most people to acknowledge, to say or to acknowledge is, I was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are people think I love you are the most difficult words to say. No, I was wrong.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, especially when it's something of such great, importance, such great moment, and it's such a great, such a high profile. I was wrong about this guy. That's hard for people to say. And so they'd rather just, I think, we have this conspiracy of amnesia, this conspiracy of blindness, this conspiracy of silence, where Trump's overt and obvious and abject racism are concerned.
So I'm about to use two words. If you don't like strong language, cover your ears right quick. I'm giving you a 10-second warning. Cover your ears, cover your ears. Donald Trump the other day used the word bitch. And that's one of the words that we can't say on radio, but I'm saying it only in quoting the President of the United States, so I should not get fined for the FCC for saying it. But he said that word the other day, and nobody seemed to be bothered by it.
No.
I've had nightmares about this, Leonard. I'm going to say it on the radio. Plug your ears again. Here's the other dirty word. Here's the other bad word. The other word. I've had nightmares about the fact that Donald Trump at some point is going to slip and call somebody a nigger. Or get caught on tape calling somebody a nigger. And I'm only raising that again because I'm not trying to be, unduly or necessarily provocative. I'm just making the point that we know who he is. It is just a matter of time before he says something that is going to get everybody's ire. But then again, Leonard, maybe it won't get everybody's ire. You take my point.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting. You say you've had nightmares about it. I'm anticipating it like a 5-course dinner myself. You know that's coming. You know that the tape exists somewhere. Using the N-word.
That's right.
And you know that at some point, some black woman in the press corps probably is going to be the one to ask him a question.
Yep.
And quiet piggy isn't going to be strong enough.
That's right. That's right.
And he is going to go there. I expect it. And the reason I anticipate it is because I really want to see what those 22% of black men and what all those white folk, who have been quiet about his racism thus far, what they have to say for themselves.
Yeah.
I really want to know. I really want to see, the Mitch McConnells and the Marco Rubios and the Sylvester Stallones and the Kelsey and all these people, stand up and explain, why was that not racist, sir?
Yeah. Yeah.
Please explain. Snoop, can you tell me why that doesn't, somebody explain to me why I shouldn't be morally and mortally offended by that.
Yeah. It's obvious he's becoming more and more rudderless by the day, more and more unhinged by the day. And I was trying to be nice about it, but I'm really with Leonard. If you really want to know, I'm just waiting on it. I mean, I said nightmares, but I expect that it is in fact going to happen at some point, and then we'll see what the response is. Speaking of nightmares, I'm already having nightmares. You mentioned Snoop, and we could mention other rappers who supported him and endorsed him during the last campaign. I suspect they'll be like, hey, everybody uses that word. There'll be ways that some people will defend his use of the word, just like there are white rappers and others who use that word. There are white kids who use that word with their friends, and so some would argue that the sting of that word isn't what it used to be in the mouths of people who happen not to have melanin in their skin. I suspect when it does happen, there'll be ways to defend him. But it's going to be a sad day in this country when Donald Trump starts to utter certain words and phrases. He's getting closer and closer every single day with this demeaning language about fellow citizens, about other human beings, S-hole countries. I mean, how much closer can you get? You call them countries S-hole countries. And, I mean, it's just a matter of time. I digress on that for now, but don't hold your breath. It's going to happen at some point, and we're going to see if, in fact, here's the real question, is there a line that Donald Trump can cross that is just too much for all of us? I doubt it. We shall see. That's just the first half hour of this conversation with Leonard Pitts Jr. I ain't got to Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump and killing people in these boats and Democrats demanding that the videos be released. We haven't talked about Congress preparing today to pass a $900 billion defense bill. We haven't gotten to the Supreme Court deciding whether Donald Trump can limit birthright citizenship. Speaking of advancing racist policies, much more than Leonard Pitts Jr., the Pulitzer Prize-winning Leonard Pitts Jr. when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The families of 3 people killed in a crash on I-57 on Chicago's far south side are looking for answers. A balloon release recently took place for those who died.
That driver that plowed into them took everything from us.
2 of the victims in the collision are black and have been identified as Raekwon Cunningham and Martise Williams. Another victim, Ruben Lujano, also passed. California Governor Gavin Newsom said he's working to revive a menopause care bill after Halle Berry criticized him for vetoing it twice. Newsom, not seeking re-election, said the bill is now in next year's budget and aims to pass it in 2026. And Big Sean and Usher are investing $1 million in Detroit's creative future with a new entertainment innovation incubator. It offers youth training in film, music, AI, and access to cutting-edge production tools. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams have the best record in the NFC after pounding the Arizona Cardinals Sunday 45-17. The win puts the Rams at 10-3, a game ahead of the Chicago Bears, who lost to Green Bay Sunday. 3 more touchdown passes for Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. The Rams had 530 yards in total offense. The 8-4 Chargers are at home tonight against the Philadelphia Eagles at SoFi. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is going to start tonight, 1 week after having surgery to repair a fractured bone in his left hand. Tavis Smiley's Indiana Hoosiers are the #1 seed in the college football playoffs. Undefeated Indiana beat Ohio State Saturday for the Big Ten Conference Championship. Indiana will have a first-round bye. They will play the winner of the December 19th Oklahoma-Alabama game on New Year's Day at the Rose Bowl. Each school in the 12-team playoff bracket will receive $4 million. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yay, yay!
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la. Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
The only thing between you and your best self is a start button. This Cyber Monday, explore the world with Nordic Track. From the peaks of Peru to the streets of Paris, every workout moves you somewhere new with iFit trainers leading the way. The equipment's amazing, smooth, quiet, and those screens make it all feel real. Ready to start your next workout adventure with the #1 treadmill brand in the U.S.? Shop NordicTrack.com for Cyber Monday savings. Nordic Track. Train anywhere, explore everywhere.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Leonard Pitts Jr., Pulitzer Prize winner, novelist, and director of the Center for Urban Journalism at Morgan State University. I've said many times on this program that I miss Leonard's writing, his column. He's sort of retired from that, and now, again, he's running this department at Morgan State, this Center for Urban Journalism, writing novels, and I love all that. I love everything that Leonard does, but I miss his copy in the Miami Herald a couple of times a week. I would just look forward to his copy. Was must-read copy for me, so every now and then I tap in with him just to see what he's thinking, since I can't read his stuff every week. And I'm glad to have him on to kick off today's program here in this first hour. So let me advance a few other things I want to get. As I often say, I feel like Alex Trebek, Leonard, at a Jeopardy board with all these subjects that we can choose, all these topics to choose from, especially on a Monday after all this stuff builds up over the weekend. So Pete Hegseth, was speaking of the weekend, was here in Southern California at the Reagan Library in Simi Valley over the weekend. He made his way out here to the West Coast and gave a pretty fiery speech that was, ridiculous in a lot of ways, but I ain't got time to get into the speech. But he did a Q&A after the speech, and he was asked specifically about this boat strike video and whether or not this video would be released. Democrats are demanding, in fact, daring the Department of Defense, Trump and Hegseth, to release this tape. Hegseth has said most recently, this would be yesterday, that the Department of Defense is reviewing the boat strike video for possible release. Have you been following and reading and covering and feeling about this particular story, Leonard Pitts Jr.?
Well, I've been following it from something of a distance. I can't get past the idea that we have suddenly decided that we have the power to judge and execute supposed drug dealers on the high seas. Mm-hmm. That's just amazing to me. I saw a story recently on CBS News Sunday morning about fishermen in an adjacent country, I believe it was Colombia, who were scared to go out on their fishing boats. It's starting to have an impact on the fishing industry in that country because they're scared to go out on their boats because who wants to face sudden death from the sky? Yeah. It's just appalling to me. Obviously, the tapes should be released, and if they show what we all fear that they show, then Mr. Hegseth should be relieved of his duties and perhaps face prosecution. It's just astonishing to me that this even has to be a question that in a time of supposed peace, I mean, no, not a declared war, the United States suddenly starts bombing boats from above based on the claim that they're ferrying drugs. And I'm sorry, I would have trouble accepting the government's word for something like that under the best of circumstances, under President Bush, Obama, or Clinton, but under a president who lies like he breathes and an administration that follows suit. I'm sorry, it's not enough for me just to have your word that this boat was ferrying drugs. And even if it was ferrying drugs, I can't accept that the next step from there is okay. We destroy the boat and execute everybody on board. I don't understand this kind of thinking. It makes absolutely no sense. If you know that the boat is carrying drugs, then you intercept it and you board it and you follow whatever the legal procedures are from there. You don't shoot a missile at it and blow it up. And then again, if people were clinging to the boat, uh, begging to surrender, you don't then say kill them all, which is what is alleged that Mr. Hegseth did. It's just amazing. It's I don't know about this country at sometimes, man.
Yeah. There are these moments, as you well know, that we endure as Americans where people see things and see different things. You suggested that earlier about your columns, calling people out as being racist, and some people just couldn't even see that. The good white people couldn't see it. So I've been following this, and I note that when this video was viewed last week by members of Congress, some Republicans came out, thinking of Tom Cotton, for example, and others, came out immediately spinning that they saw nothing wrong with the videotape. And then, 20 steps away from Tom Cotton stands a bunch of Democratic senators who come out and say, this tape needs to be released. We saw two people who survived who were waving in surrender or waving for help, waving for rescue, and we saw them get blown up moments later with that second strike, that second hit. So Republicans are already out spinning for Hegseth and Trump. Democrats are demanding these tapes be released because they saw something very different on these tapes. And so we shall see if the American people ever get a chance to view these tapes. But the latest is that the Department of Defense, unless something's happened in the last few minutes while I've been on the air, the Department of Defense, we are told by Mr. Hegseth at least, is reviewing the boat strike video for possible release. I don't know what you need to be viewing it for release. I mean, senators have seen it. Members of Congress have seen it. It is what it is. I mean, it's not like you're going to edit the video, or at least you shouldn't edit it before you put it out.
You shouldn't.
Exactly. I had to catch myself on that. Yeah. So that's what he means. We're editing it to see if we can cut some stuff out before we release it. That's what we're reviewing. Can we edit this bad boy before y'all see it? Anyway, we shall see in the coming days. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One thing I'd like to know: is there anywhere in legal statutes of the United States, either federally or at the state level, where drug trafficking leads automatically to a death sentence? Is the death sentence attached to drug trafficking anywhere?
Yeah.
I know you can get some years for that.
Sure. No,
but anywhere it's just an astonishing situation, appalling situation.
No, and to your point, I mean, you're right. Leonard always is asking the right questions. It's a private question. I don't know the answer to it. I have to dig and look it up and see if that's the case. I'm fascinated by the question itself. But to your earlier point, which is spot on, that this is an administration that lies all day long. As Leonard said, they lie like they breathe, and so that's pretty accurate, I think. And we are left as fellow citizens to just take their word for it. Well, they were ferrying drugs. Okay, where's the evidence of that? Well, we blew the boat up, so there ain't no evidence. It would be laughable again if it weren't so serious, but we are forced to take their word for it again. And these people that lie through their teeth all day long. So there's that. Let me move on to speaking of the Department of Defense. This is a nice segue, I think, or the simplest segue. To talk about Congress on the eve now passing a $900 billion defense bill. Now, you mentioned 20 years ago. You've been writing for a long time. I can't even imagine what the Defense Department budget was like when you started doing what you do. I can't even recall, frankly, what it was when I started doing what I do 30-plus years ago in media. I can guarantee you it wasn't quite $900 billion. But over these decades, that number just continues to grow and grow and grow, and that's why we call it, the military industrial complex. That's exactly what it is. But now, Leonard, Congress again prepared this week to pass a $900 billion defense bill.
Yeah, I don't know, what it was 20 years ago, but I do know that it has long been said. It was said 20 years ago, and I'm sure it's still said now, that the United States spends more on defense than the next 10 countries in the world combined.
That's correct.
And that's astonishing. And I think that don't get me wrong, I want my country to be able to defend itself and handle, whatever can conceivably happen. But when you are spending that much more on defense than everybody else, that to me speaks about more than the need to defend yourself. That to me speaks about a level of we've never talked about the fear that animates this country, that has animated this country from the beginning. And I think that shows up in a $900 billion defense budget. This fear that we know we have done so much dirt in so many places, and we bear so much guilt for so much bad stuff, that we need to be able to basically build a moat around our country, because we don't, if the chickens ever come home to roost, to borrow Malcolm's unfortunate phrase, if the chickens ever come home to roost, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. I think that, we don't talk about that fear, but I think that fear undergirds so much of American policy, particularly with regard to defense, particularly in regard to guns. My friend Carolyn Anderson wrote the book. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, The Second, on the history of the Second Amendment. And she makes the point that the whole reason we have a Second Amendment is because slave-holding states wanted to be able to hold onto their rifles to defend themselves against the enslaved people, should the enslaved people rise up, as they periodically did. So from the beginning, policy about guns in this country has always been based on the fact that we did dirt, and we're scared we're going to have to pay for that dirt. So let's make sure that we are as well armed and as freely armed as we can possibly be. And I don't think it's any different. That's the way it is on the state level. I don't think it's any different on the international level. The United States has done. We're so scared of so many repercussions for so much of what we've done that we have to be able to defend ourselves to an insane degree.
Two other things I want to cover with Leonard Pitts Jr. if I lose him at the top of the hour. As I mentioned earlier, the Supreme Court is preparing to decide whether Donald Trump can, in fact, limit constitutional right to citizenship at birth in this country. We're all taking bets on that decision. What that's going to look like. We'll talk about that when we come forward. And Marjorie Taylor Greene sat down with Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes yesterday. Interesting notes out of that as well. So we'll get back to this conversation when we come forward. Leonard Pitts Jr.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. You'll find exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 50% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. Benefits Checkup citizenship.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Made fresh daily in the Mert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Leonard Pitts Jr., Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, director of the Center for Urban Journalism at Morgan State University in Baltimore City, and best-selling novelist. So, Leonard, this is that moment we were all waiting for. I remind this audience all the time, because it's worth underscoring, that the Supreme Court chooses the cases it wants to hear. It chooses the cases it wants to hear. So there's always an agenda to begin with, because they select the cases on which they want to opine. They have now decided they are going to hear this case on whether or not we will redefine the constitutional right to citizenship at birth in this country. What do you make of that decision by the court to even take the case, for starters? And then what do you think they're going to do with it?
I'm worried, to be perfectly honest with you. In a normal situation, in normal circumstance, I would not be. I reread the 14th Amendment this morning just to make sure that my memory was straight. And it is as clear as I recall it saying that, if you're born in this country, then you are a citizen of this country. So I can't imagine, that there's any discrepancy or any issue, except for the fact that we've got 6 justices on the court now, on the illegitimately conceived court, in my opinion, but that's another matter. Mm-hmm. We've got 6 justices on the court now who fealty seems to be more to the MAGA movement than to the law and to the Constitution. So what should be a slam dunk, of a decision, I don't know where it's going to go. I can't say where it's going to go, and I think it'll be very interesting. As African Americans, we should be particularly offended that this is even a question, because the whole issue of birthright citizenship, as I said, comes out of the 14th Amendment, which essentially refuted the Dred Scott decision. The Dred Scott decision by the Supreme Court, one of its worst decisions, I believe came in the 1850s, if I'm recalling correctly, maybe a little earlier, said that black people could not be citizens. As a matter of fact, Roger B. Taney, the Chief Justice, wrote that a black man has no rights that a white man was bound to respect. Mm-hmm. So the 14th Amendment was the curative for that. And if they're now talking about, revisiting that, or even the fact that they say that there's a need to revisit that, is more than a little troubling. For me as an American and for me as an African American.
Mm-hmm. I've talked to more legal scholars than I can count over the last number of months. Since this became a story, Trump demanding that we rethink and redefine what citizenship at birth means in this country. I haven't talked to one legal scholar who thinks, even those who are more to the right, everybody says that what you said, Leonard, that it is written so clearly that they cannot imagine the Supreme Court redefining it. It's so clearly written that nobody can imagine it being overturned, and that's what scares me, because this Supreme Court continues to do things that nobody thought was possible, legally or otherwise. I'll leave it there. When we come forward in our remaining moments, Marjorie Taylor Greene was on 60 Minutes last night. I want to play a fascinating clip for you from that conversation with Leonard Pitts Jr. on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Leonard Pitts Jr. for the next 3 minutes. Give me that clip right quick, Miles, of Marjorie Taylor Greene last night on 60 Minutes with Leslie Stahl.
Are you MAGA?
I am America First.
And that's not the same as MAGA.
MAGA is President Trump's phrase. That's his political policies. I call myself America First.
But you're not saying you're MAGA.
I'm America First. Yep.
She went on to say in that conversation last night, Leonard, that she's seen colleagues who previously made fun of the president pivot to kissing his A, cleaning that up for radio. They pivoted to kissing his A and wearing a MAGA hat. That's part of what that conversation was about. I've been fascinated, as have others who listen to this program or come on this program, by the pivot that Marjorie Taylor Greene is making. In 90 seconds, what do you make of it?
I don't know what in the world to make of it. To be honest to God, true. Yeah. I don't know where Ms. Greene is coming from. God bless her. I will note that America First is a term that was used by anti-Semites in the run-up to the Second World War. Mm-hmm. But I will give her the benefit of the doubt and assume that, that's not where, she's not claiming resonance with that. It's just to me, it's an unfortunate term. Yeah. I am not surprised to hear that folks are, making fun of Mr. Trump behind his back. That seems to be an old story. And as for her, I don't know, maybe she grew a conscience and a spine at the same time. And if so, God bless her and Godspeed. But it would have been very nice if you had done that a lot sooner, while you could have mitigated some of the damage that you have left in your wake.
Mic drop from Leonard Pitts Jr. I was thinking that one final comment. I was just sort of thinking to myself during that break. We were talking about Congress gearing up to pass this $900 billion defense policy bill. You all saw the story a few weeks ago when Tesla redid his deal. Elon Musk now will become the first trillionaire in the world, the first trillionaire. And you see where I'm going, Leonard. We're spending $900 billion on defense, almost as much as one man's net worth. But I'll leave that alone. That $900 billion is not quite Elon Musk's net worth, just one guy. in the
but
whole
the
wide
poor
world.
are our enemies.
There you go. But the poor are our enemies. Leonard Pitts Jr., Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, director of the Center for Urban Journalism at Morgan State in Baltimore City, best-selling novelist. Always appreciate your insights, Leonard. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir, to the extent you can after this conversation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward. Hour 2 kicks off with Dr. Cornel West.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The families of 3 people killed in a crash on I-57 on Chicago's far south side are looking for answers. A balloon release recently took place for those who died.
That driver that plowed into them took everything from us.
2 of the victims in the collision are black and have been identified as Raekwon Cunningham and Martise Williams. Another victim, Ruben Lujano, also passed. California Governor Gavin Newsom said he's working to revive a menopause care bill after Halle Berry criticized him for vetoing it